Hey everybody, welcome to probability terms. I really enjoy probability because it's a lot different from the things that we've been learning in math. A lot of the things that we learn in math are very black and white. 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's definite black or white answer. Probability doesn't have a lot of black or white answers. We have a chance that something could happen. We have a greater chance or a lesser chance that something could happen, but we're not always sure, so it's kind of fun to do that. One of the things that we talk about with probability is using the correct vocabulary when we're describing a situation. So we're going to go over that vocabulary, and when I do that with the class, I usually talk about board games and dice. One of the board games I loved to play when I was a kid was called Axis and Allies, where you would roll for tank battles and fighter planes and stuff, and all the different items had a different chance of hitting the opponent. So we're going to talk about some of these terms. We're going to start right up at the top, and we're going to use the dice to kind of help our conversation along. So if it's a certain event, if the probability is certain that something's going to happen, this means this will definitely happen. It is definitely 100% going to happen. So on a dice, what I might say is, what are my chances of rolling a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? What's the chances of me rolling something between 1 and 6? And everybody would say, well, you're always going to roll something between 1 and 6. That's all that's on this. Well, there's our chance. So we have 6 opportunities for that to happen, so that's our denominator, and we have a 6 out of 6 chance. We call that the fractional probability. We have a 6 out of 6 chance. It's 100% of the time. It's always going to happen that way. Okay? Now, likely would be, I'm pretty sure this will happen. It's not 100%. It's not a 6 out of 6, but it might happen. And we talked about in my game that I would play that you could buy these bombers, and the bombers would attack at 4. And what we meant by that was, if I rolled my dice, if I got a number that was a 1, 2, 3, or a 4, I hit my opponent. So I had a good chance that I was going to hit my opponent. So a 4 out of 6, or even in this case a 5 out of 6, that would be pretty likely. If I get a 1, 2, 3, or 4, that's pretty likely. Is it always going to happen? No, I might roll a 5, I might roll a 6, but it's a pretty good chance that it's going to happen, that I'm going to roll a 1, 2, 3, or a 4. Now a 50-50 chance in the game I played, those were our tanks. And the tanks attacked at 3, which meant that if I rolled a 1, a 2, or a 3 with my dice, that I hit my opponent. So I had a pretty good chance, but it was just as good a chance that I was going to miss. So I had a 3 out of 6 chance. That was a 50-50 chance. It was like flipping a coin, heads or tails. You have a 50-50 chance of getting one of those opportunities to happen. Now, unlikely means it's probably not going to happen. So when I was attacking somebody's territory, if they had a little soldier on the ground there, the soldier would defend the territory at a 2, which meant that that soldier would have to roll a 1 or a 2 to defend that territory. Not very likely. It's kind of unlikely that that's going to happen. I only had 2 chances out of 6 that that was going to happen. Okay? Very unlikely, that was almost positive that this will not happen. You really do not have a good chance of this happening. And I talked about when the bombers in my game that I would play with my friends, when we would fly the airplanes over the game board, you got to take a shot with the anti-aircraft gun to try and knock the airplanes out of the sky. But you had to roll a 1. Could it happen? Sure, it could happen. Is there a good chance it's going to happen? Not really. You had to get a 1. That was your only opportunity. So that was a 1 out of 6 chance. And we would call that, that's very unlikely. Might happen, but probably not. And then an impossible thing. This will never, ever, ever, ever happen. That would be a 0 out of 6 chance. Now we talked to the kids about make up something silly. So I got a dice here. It's a 6-sided dice. It's numbered 1 to 6. What are the chances that I'm going to roll a 55? You don't have a chance to roll a 55. What about 112? It's not on there. What about a picture of Mr. DeLugas' face? You have a 0 out of 6 chance. You could roll this dice for the next 25 years, and that's never, ever going to happen. So those are our terms. Certain at 100%, all the way down to impossible at 0, and that would be certain, likely, 50-50 chance, unlikely, very unlikely, and impossible. And those are the probability terms that we use when we're describing probability, along with a fractional representation of that.